All right, this is part 2 of 2.5. So we're going to do example 3 out of page 113. This is another special case. This one's called a difference of squares. Obviously, it's very different than the other ones we're used to looking at. There's no term in the middle. We're normally looking at something that has, do it all in black, but ax squared plus bx plus c. In these cases, there is no term here. So we don't have a term for bx, which means all we have is an ax squared and a c. Pretty easy to recognize these, but we still have to check to make sure they work. All we're looking for is the square root of the first term, our a, square root of the last term, our c. Pretty straightforward. We have a 3 and a 2. If our terms are like this, and they are perfect squares, so I can find whole numbers that are their square roots, it's always going to work. The only difference is when we go to plug it into the brackets, one last check we have to make sure. Because it's called a difference of squares, our sign in between the numbers has to be negative. If it's not a negative, we can't do the factoring this way. Okay? We have to make sure this term is a negative in order for this to work. So, because it's a negative, when I go to put it into the brackets, I actually have to put a plus and a minus sign. We have to have a plus and a minus. So this won't look the same as the other one where we combine them together and add a power of 2 on the outside. We're going to have 2 brackets. The numbers inside the brackets will be the same, but the signs will be different. So our first term was our 2x. 2x, pretty straightforward. And our last term is a 3 and a 3. I can't combine these two into one bracket because the signs are different. Okay? This one's usually pretty easy to recognize. You guys take a look. As long as there's a negative sign and I can find the square root of my a term and my c term, that's it. I know I can factor it this way. Okay? Okay. So, let's give you a different. Thank you for your permission. Now you guys wanted to know if we had 4x squared plus 9. Okay? Numbers, it doesn't matter the numbers, okay? As long as they're square roots. So we'll even I'll even change the numbers. Sorry if you're writing that down. 4 and 64, okay? So the only problem is this is not a difference of squares. There's an addition in the front. So I can't actually do it that way. I can't factor it this way. But if the question were to have given you a negative in front of this 64, Ian? Kind of, not quite. I got to do another type of factoring. Anyone remember what type of factoring I have to do for this? Yes. What would the common factor be? I just want to make it so that I can actually use my special case. Not recording this. So there's a couple factors. I can take out a 2, I can take out a 4. All those things are nice, but what they're going to do is they're going to get rid of my square roots. And then I can't use this special case factoring. So the common factor I'm actually going to take out of this is I'm going to divide each term by -1. Okay? When I divide each term by -1, so I take the -1 to the outside, I'm going to end up with positive 64x squared minus 144. Now I've created a special case. I took a common -1 out. I have a special case. I can find the square root of this term, 64. It's going to be 8. And I can find the square root of this term, 144 is going to be 12. And because it is a negative sign in between, oh, sorry, thank you. And because it's a negative sign in between, it's a difference of squares. So, as long as I keep this -1 on the outside, I'll write in black, I can put my terms inside the brackets. I have my 8x and my 8x. Those are our A terms. And I have my 12 and 12. Those are our C terms. And the only other thing I have to do is make sure one of them is negative and one of them is positive. And those are our signs in between. Okay, your homework's always in your blue notebook on page 121. It tells you to go to text page 115, and it wants you to do 5, 6, 8, and 10. I've added numbers 3 and 4. We already did half of 3 in class. Number 4. They're just quick practices for these special cases. It doesn't take very long to do these, okay? I just want to make sure you guys will practice this a little.